Hello. Hi, hi. How you doing? Welcome. Welcome, welcome. I'm flat still. Oh my god. The moment someone's finally to play Counter-Strike. Not tonight. Tonight also no play. Okay, there we go. Oh my god, my friend immediately asked me to play Counter-Strike when I get my Steam online. I'm not playing it tonight. Also, welcome in everyone. Hi Evie, hi Narix, hi Nina, hi Sia. Welcome. Hope you are doing good. I wanted to do a little bit of like late night stream again. It's been a while. Monster Duro, Monster Cardo. Oh, Monster Cardo. Toxin Shokan. I only watch a little bit, but not as much. Hey Jade, oh my god. But chat, did you know that be you guys can know how much of a kobold you are today by doing this? Uh, I'm pretty kobold today. That's pretty good. Also, apparently my connection today is like really bad. So, oh, I don't have a bird. You want a bird? I think I can add a bird command to this. I mean, I'll just copy and paste the same one and change the kobold to bird. Seems like we're very dragon today. Yeah, the kobold, the exclamation mark kobold never lies. I feel pretty kobold today. Yeah. Oh, get that thigh. You know what? I'm doing it. Monster Hunter. Hmm. I don't know. I'm just like sort of getting back into Monster Hunter lately, especially Monster Hunter World. I don't know. I kind of want to revisit Monster Hunter World again. So here I am. And I've been playing it a little bit this afternoon. True, it does not lie. See? Jade's only 7% Kobo because Jade is bird. If you call me more than 50% Kobold, I'll hoard you. Hey, as the Kobold, I like being hoarded, so I'm gonna get that by. Also, I don't know what this feeling is. I'm a little bit scared. Like I feel like I feel like I'm getting a little bit sick. Question mark. You know, like the feeling when the back of your nose starts to feel a little bit pain from like swelling or anything. Yeah, it feels weird. Anyway, I'm gonna get that tire real quick. Eh, okay, okay. I did it. I got that thigh. Oh my god. Okay, I'm back. Hi, Ice Bear Popsicle. Offers omelette with sausage. Well, it's mine now. Omelette with sausage, though. Oh my goodness. I can't look at. Oh, hi, Lord Kilmore. Once out to work without seeing one of my friends get jump scared by a Legiana as he get raided. Oh, like the alert is like a Legiana jump scare. Nice. We love Legiana. Legiana is great. It's kinda sad how Legiana only appears in World though. Would be nice that Legiana somehow gets back in Monster Hunter Wilds. But I want Malzeno more, so yeah. I'm still trying to catch my breath. That get the thigh was so good. Technically, I'm cooking myself an omelette right now, and I decided to add sausage patties to it. Oh, I want to eat that sausage patty. I want to eat that sausage patty. Oh my god. Think I right while playing my starter and I gonna charge them and look, bring me that. Oh, that's even better because it's not just a raid alert. I'm gonna open a Monster Hunter World real quick. I recently started a new character and I get to play a little bit of it this afternoon because today apparently is a public holiday and I play a little bit before I go for some job hunting again. To no avail, sadly. Never had the Monster Stories model. I mean, is it hard to add? I didn't add that one. Monster wait, a Monster Hunter Monster Hunter? Monster Hunter World Iceborne Stories mod? It's Stories to Monster Hunter World Monsters Reskin. Monsters for Monster Hunter Stories Iceborne mod. For Stories Iceborne players who want to disable / I install the Monster version? Many use by copying and pasting the unpacked NetDPC file terms. Oh, I mean, it's just download and put it in. It's not on Nexus mod? I'm seeing it on Nexus mod though. Like, this is what I'm looking at. Unless this is not the one that you're looking that you mentioned. Not that? I'm not too sure which one is it. Is it like a monster companion? Companion monster that fights alongside you. Sounds broken, but I kind of like it. I mean, I have a hunting horn, so Monster Hunter World Iceborne Monster. Oh, that's current patch. Monster taming mod? Taming monsters and fighting with them? Why is it in Spanish? I cannot understand this. Also, my connection tonight is somehow really bad. Like, the download speed is horrendous. But somehow the upload speed is okay that I can stream still. But the download is just like I can't. It's not loading at all. Wait. I don't know why. Like it feels very weird. Like the download doesn't download. The upload uploads though. So oh, all right. Let me hide. Hidden at June 2020. Look for the Iceborne version of this mod. What? Hi Rogue. Using a musical bone stick today? Yeah. Link is dead. Try this Discord? I need to go Discord? No, what? I already joined so much Discord server. Oh my god, I hate it so much. It's download via Discord only. Oh fuck. I'm not downloading that. maybe at some point I have the mood to to join the Discord server and download it, then yeah. I don't want to join a Discord server now and download it. Hey, look, plus my download speed is trash today, so it's okay. I'm gonna go with the bong stick. It's totally fine. Okay, let's see. Where's my Monster Hunter World? Oh yes, before I start out the game, so I was browsing Steam Next Fest for a little bit, right? I found Epic Balls Smashing. It is exactly what it is. Epic Balls Smashing. I love the name though. That's why I got it. I got into my library, but I never played it. I just want look. I just want my Steam library to have Epic Balls Smashing. Okay, enough about that. That's fine. All right, let me hide the screen again. I'm gonna put this one here, and I'm just gonna. That one's enabled. Okay, we good. We good. Okay. Open the world. Open up world. I'm going to close this and go here. Boom. Okay, there we go. I need to capture Monster Hunter World. They. I want to make a comment on the title, but it's too early for me to do so. How early is early? It's time time zone, right? Because currently it's 10 p.m. here. Well, 9:57 p.m., but close enough. It's too early for my shape-shifting tail to be unhinged. Aha. Welcome to the Kobo stream where the Kobo is always unhinged. It's almost 10 a.m. Oh, so it's like 12-hour difference, it feels like. Yeah, 12 hours. I need to turn down the graphics a little bit. This afternoon I played it and then I turned up the graphics a little bit. And I'm probably gonna need to enable this. Boom. Okay, there we go. Right, we could. So I already progressed through Rotten Vale. Did you remember to remove Donger mods? Yeah, the mods aren't there anymore, so we're fine. I was streaming this on Monday. Yeah, on Monday for a little bit, and it's fine. there's no monster ding dong on screen, so it's fine. I would much prefer to look at my it's 10 p.m. for me, it's fine. I would much prefer to look at Monster Ding Dong, but I'm on stream and I have to abide by the rules. Unfortunate, I know. But yeah, there is Monster Ding Dong mods. I don't want to kill little things. I'm so lazy to kill those little things. Groove up. Oh, it shortened the time, right? Do I have any new things? No, okay. I'm just gonna do this. Oh, okay. Third Fleet Master. Oh yeah, I need to go to Rotten Vale. So this game has unskippable cutscene. I know, diabolical, but it is what it is. I want to see if there's any like new hunting point that I can make. I'm on iron. I'm on metal bagpipe. Oh, never go add the skip cutscene mod. There's a mod to skip cutscenes? Shit, I need that. No, upgrade. Oh, wait, I'm on Thunder. Lumuhon? Need Coral Crystal. Lumuhorn, just all different notes. Nah, my current horn is fine. Yeah, my current horn is fine. Look at that. It's Tobi Katachi's horn. Hikya. Well, it is Thunder Element, but good enough. Let me go check for the mod real quick then. Even though my current download speed is like boy. Skippable cutscenes at Monster Hunter? Oh my goodness. Navigate to native PC. The best kind of quest cannot be skipped. It causes issue with the researcher card getting stuck. Does so enable the SOS flare for MP automatically? You still have to reach and skip the cutscene. I mean, I'm just gonna skip like the... Okay, so just put into native PC. This one's pretty easy. With long loading times for some users. Okay. I have stackers loader. Okay. Pretty sure I need to like reopen the game, which is no big deal, I think. See, Nexus mod is so easy. Gosh. Alright, how long does it take to download a 37 kilobyte item? Oh, it's done. Okay, thank goodness. I thought it's gonna take a while. Okay, I'm gonna reopen the game. I'm sorry about that. I need to have skippable cutscene, okay? I didn't know that's a mod. I have been looking at cutscenes again and again, and it feels like crap. Alright, real quick. I'll do it real quick, alright? I'm going to be so fast, it's gonna be insane. Watch this. Boom. Alright. Close this. Boom. Go back. Native PC. Put it in. Boom. And we're done. Easy. It didn't say what button to press though. Hopefully it shows on screen. I can see why I spent like 1300 hours for Monster Hunter World. I don't know, it just feels more fun than Rise. And somehow wild. Somehow. I mean, I guess my PC's performance does impact WoW a little bit, but just a little bit though. I feel like World's combat, it's like a good mix, a good balance of like strong hunter and strong monster. Like, there isn't a moment where I feel like I'm way too strong. I'm just overpowering monsters with my moveset. It doesn't feel that way with Monster Hunter World. Monster Hunter World is like, I feel strong because I'm good, you know? Like, it's so grounded. It's never a moment of like, I have 10,000 different counter options, and each counter would deplete your health bar by half, right? It's never that way. World is just like, I'm good. I feel strong because I'm good. And then when I cannot do anything, I just get hit over and over again. And then I'm like, okay, it's time to create space, breathe, and then re-engage, right? Like, it's like those kind of aspects I really love about Monster Hunter World. I don't know, I really like it a lot.
Oh my god. Hi, Zeus. Hi, very cool. Alright, it's time to speak to... I forgot to eat. Hi, yeah, we can eat there, it's fine. Hello. Yes, bring me down. Alright. We can eat that, gets hot drop. No! It's story drop. I'll never get hot drop. It's story drop, it's fine. Oh my god. Cutscene skipped. This is the best game ever. Nice. Oh, okay, so we met Legiana, okay. Oh, it's a resource center. Capture? Yeah, capture. Event quest. Pitino Wyvern? All limited bounty? Yeah, no. No delivery? Here we go. This one I don't Aqua Sec, it's fine. There was a Legiana. Eyeball. I eyeballed a Legiana. Wow. I eyeballed a Legiana. Embodiment of elegance. We love Legiana here. Legiana is so fucking amazing. Did I not get a new cam? Did I not? Oh, you don't get to choose cam. Yeah, Wait, I do get to choose cam. I don't remember. What the fuck? I played too many different Monster Hunter. Oh no. My brain doesn't work. Hi, kitty. Alright, what do we need to bring for Legiana? Hello? Oh, it's the cutscene music. What the hell? Why is there still cutscene music playing? Help. I was like, what the fuck? What's with this stinger? It scared me. Oh my god.
Yeah, the music is very funky. What if we depart now? Alright, I'm pretty sure I need Mega Potion for this. I'm still in Jaguar's armor. My partial empty. I'm new character, what do you mean? Is there a way to gather things? Where the Nulberry? Who needs Nulberry when I can dodge everything? Nah, watch this. Nah, we ball. We ball, it's fine. Look, I'm playing Hunting Horn. It's like so easy, okay. Hunting Horn is literally OP. Legiana. Nantoka shinaido. Oh my god, you're so scary. Chicken. Delicious food. I got feline defender. Nice. No insurance, it's okay. Who needs feline insurance, huh? Flash pop? I'll take it, but I'll never use it. Chat, did you know as a Monster Hunter player, I'm not gonna say I'm a veteran because I'm not, right? Even though I played Monster Hunter for a long time, I have never used flash pots or sonic bombs. It's like it's so essential for like some fights, you know, like Nibel's Snarf. You're gonna need like, is it Nibel's Snarf that needs sonic bomb? I don't remember. I think it's Nibel's Snarf. And then I never brought it. And then I'll just be like, okay, I'll stay mad. I'll stay mad. I'm not gonna use sonic bomb. Sometimes my stubbornness can be so stupid. Yeah. I get it. Right, where are we going? So we probably have the paparazzi and Paolumu. Do I want to deal with all of them? I guess it could be fun. Feather, yeah, this is Paolumu. I think I'm strong enough to like deal with all of them. I'm relatively sure anyway. Oh my goodness, Paolumu is not here. I cannot believe it. Maybe I should just like quest spam, no? You know what, I'm gonna do just that. Let's do quest spam, it's fine. There's no need to like farm too much items. This is only like low rank items. What buff do I have? Health recovery S, health recovery M, scalp fly power, earplugs, earplug good. And then speed boost, event window up. Nice. Free scout fly level up. Oh hey, look, there's now berry, which I'm never gonna use. And I think there's one more here, yeah. This is low rank, it's fine. Well, it's not like Legion is gonna kill me outright, it's fine. Oh, hey, hi. How you doing? No, don't. Oh, why are you like this? Okay, we good. Oh my god, it hurts. No, it actually doesn't hurt as much. I'm surprised. What are you doing? Get down. Wait, does Legion have Cruciatus syndrome as well? I didn't even know. Alright, here we go. No more stamina. No more stamina. This is fine. I need to land a hit on like a good hit on the head. Oh. I should throw it sideways. Landing attacks part of the area combo routing, so less bad. Fair enough. It's not as bad, I can feel it. It's a little bit, it's just like a tad bit mildly annoying. Yeah, like that. It's not like absolutely horrendous like Palacio no Kushala. Goes down. Please Rathalos spend more time aerial compared to Legiana? Yeah, definitely. Rathalos is like the the flying. And that works.
Also, Kobo, lower your music volume a smidge.
Music volume? Oh, my game volume? 80? I think the voice volume and anything else should be fine. You got it. We got him. I used the one combo. I hate it. Everything is fine. Music is a bit louder now. Okay. I did have music on very loud because I love music. But it's fair. If it's overpowering my voice, then yeah, it's good to turn it down. We dodged that, easy. Oh, delay. Oh no, don't do it. Oh no. Oh, it's the paparazzi. Oh, god damn it. Oh, do I have no self-improvement anymore? I don't know why it broke. You like music? And I like music. The loop for health recovery ends. O triangle, double, repeat. Tail break? Ooh. Actually surprised I broke the tail. I don't really focus my attack on tail. I've been focusing my attack on head. It's the best Monster Hunter game, right? It's like I feel that way too. And after playing also hi Chirodine, I played Rise, I played Wild. It's like it's really fun. But somehow something just doesn't beat Monster Hunter World. I don't get it. So I'm revisiting the Monster Hunter World again. That hit, we take those, easy. Anyway. Hope you're doing good when coming. Feel that music. I know I do. Don't do it. Oh my god. This is such a small area. Okay, that's cool as fuck actually. Holy shit. Chad, did you see that? Did you see that? I did something really cool, oh my god. It's like I can spend 1300 hours on World, but never on any other Monster Hunter games. Oh, I take that back actually. I spend way more on Monster Hunter Frontiers than. But that one is a different case. That one is like an MMO version of Monster Hunter, and that's like, yeah. Don't I have glider? I do. Okay. I can't stand Rise. I played it once and never went back. Not even the DLC, even not for the DLC. Well, I love the controls and movement system, but I hate the lack of content. DLC will fix that? Well, it's something I've gone back to play, start finish with longsword, hammer, twice, bow, heavy bow gun, and lance. Yeah, I mean, I agree with the Wilds. Wilds to me is like lack of content, and also like my PC is not strong enough to support the game, but that has been fixed a little bit, so it's fine. The Rise I'm okay with, it's just it doesn't really catch my attention as much as World. I mean, I love Malzeno. I always go back to look at Malzeno from time and time again because I love Malzeno a lot. Oh, oh, oh. Give. Give me that Dragon Knight. For weapons wise, I play all melee weapons. Other than light bowgun and heavy bowgun. I play a little bit of bow. Never good at it though. Yeah, now I'm just like looking forward to Monster Hunter Wilds Ascendant. Oh! Easy. It's mine now. Hopefully Ascendance will give us more and more stuff. Although my point, my extra point about why I love World and not as much as Wilds was the hunter, how strong Hunter is, right? In World, like, in World it's like you're not as broken, right? Like in Rise you're absolutely broken. In Wilds you are pretty broken, right? Right? Like as in you could decimate monsters with the sheer amount of strong attacks that Hunters has. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, it's just that this is definitely a very personal preference thing. So yeah, it's good if people like to like have really strong Hunter and then just like go hunt, go ballistic. It's fine, right? But then to me it's like Wilds is like, I feel good when I do good in Wilds, right? I feel good when I dodge all the hits, when I land a good hit. It's never like, oh, because I'm a longsword main and I do a counter that does half your health, haha, I'm so good. It's more like I did something cool executional wise, like execution wise. Give me all the meat. I just cannot stand an overly attached girlfriend now. On this one, Alma is the best. Like, handler, Alma, oh my god. Alma is great. Not the overly attached girlfriend though. Ooh. Isn't there like a might seat? Yeah, there's a might seat here. Wow. The face boys are very polite in this game. I'm busy, handler. Can't you see what I'm doing? I'm gathering bones. Wait, where's... Oh, shiny! Mine. The track's inspecting noise though. Oh yeah, there's a devil's blight here. Yeah. Mining outcrop here, I think? Oh, it's a red one, not here. Do we skip this one?
こは谷の底のはず。
Why are you muffled? I can skip it.
これより先に行き場はないのに、ゾラマグダラオスは一体どこに？
Alright, chat, I'm skipping the cutscene, alright? We're fighting against a dog.
二手に分かれて探してみましょう。
It's gonna be very janky because I skipped everything, but then everything still plays, so excuse this for a little bit. It's fine. Oh my god. I'll pass someone. We're gonna find the dog first.
どうしよう、おばさまが助けに行かないと。
Ooh, where's this? Wait, I didn't know. Oh my god, wait. I played for 1300 hours. I didn't even know this thing exists. Holy shit, what? Yeah, no, I have been running the Rotten Vale from, like... Yeah, I didn't know their shortcuts. What the fuck? Oh my god. What? Hi, Peter. Hi, Draken. I've been using... There are a few, some maps are better than others. This is the first time I found it. Oh my god, and it's only in Rotten Vale. I've been just running around the map. Oh my god. Oh my god, thanks for 175 stream streak. Thank you. Was that the dog? That was the dog. Oh. The double bug is back. God bug? Where's the god bug? I can't even see it. My health bar is so tiny. Oh yeah, how Peter Draken is doing it. Welcome in. Devil's Blight is here. I mean, do I even need Devil's Blight? I'm not even using Mega Barrel Bombs anyway. I'm just hunting. Dog. Oh. Wait, Great Heroes? Shut up. Looks way too early. Owie! You wanna do your combo? Uh-oh. Don't do it! Okay, we good. Where's my Ashra Jerky? There it is. Bless the Astra jerky. Oh, I thought that was gonna be really bad. Wait, weren't you drooling? Alright, Doggo. I know you have a little combo. Alright. Your moveset is inspired by Zinogre, okay? I get it. No, it's actually not. And you pushed me back in. It was crazy. Well, fighting against Auto Garen is kind of difficult, but maybe I'm just not used to the moveset, that's all. I kind of want a Great Gyros. I kind of want a Great Gyros though. Here, let's hunt Great. Oh my god, I'm trying to get the... Okay, there we go. Hiya. Bắn吗？你们真的是嘎嘎叫叫。They hear you talk shit about their big boss? Fair enough. I want their big boss though. Can I say this? Great Gyros is kinda cute. You know what? I think Great Gyros is actually really cute. I like Great Gyros. Just casually taking out things, it's fine, right? And you eat me? Oh, I'm sorry I had to do this to you. If I can aim. There we go. If I can aim, it's crazy. Oh, wait, don't. Spin. You hurt though, holy shit. Got him. I'm not gonna touch Chrome. I want to do this. What is that delay hitbox? There we go. Watch this. Back play. That's like the best button. Got him. my god, I got Turku. Forward play is also really good. Got him. Got him. I am extremely lucky on that one. Back play, let's go. That's such a good fun. This one forward play is bonk. I might do it actually. Yeah, I think I can capture this thing already. I feel like it's in capture range. Don't do it. Wait. Yeah, it might be. No, you're not. Okay. I thought too much. Don't do it. Yeah, you had to. Oh, you are? Wait a minute. I'm so confused. Why are you... Stop. Alright, don't go over here. I'll kiss him if he didn't poison me if I tried. Ooh, gosh, I would too. Oh. I'm glad I'm not the only one who thinks that Great Gyros is pretty adorable. I don't know why though, like... Yeah, I couldn't explain it, it's just cute. Oh no. You like snakes? Yeah, I do. I guess I like lizards in general. Oh, maybe Great Gyros has that fang. You know, the fang. Oh, I have earplugs, easy. Get absolutely fucked. Oh. No. Oh yeah, I didn't bring Astra Jerky actually. Alright, just don't mind me. Don't mind me. Oh, I dodged the wrong way. Oh, that worked. You know what? Give me that. I cannot cut your tail, but I sure as hell can break your tail. I should have broken a claw instead. What am I doing? Guys, there is something on, I believe. There's no move that I can cut the tail. Like, if there's one, I can try. But there's no move that can cut. I have? Oh my god, tail. Which one? He'll stab? Okay. You know what? It's borderline impossible. the hit is too small. But that's good to know though. On some of the monsters that I can try. I need beast buff. So shiny. Hunting on this game is so shiny. Only hammer does have the ability to cut tails if I remember correctly. Dang, I actually didn't know hilt stab is slicing. Oh my god. Well, if there's a move that I can cut tails with, I sure as hell am gonna use it. I'm just gonna play Star Wars music for them. I'm playing Star Wars music for them while they fight each other. That's gonna hurt. That hit somewhere. Wow. That's a different roar. Oh wait, no, that's Ranoban's roar. Thank goodness I have earplug, or else that could have been cancerous. Oh. Ow! I didn't even know I'm getting hit. Did they both run away at the same time? Oh my god. They should have kids, holy shit. Oh, no, you're back. Okay, I take that back. I rolled into it. The candle? Hunting Horn feels really nice. I cannot believe I've been missing out. Holy shit. Like I never played Hunting Horn before. Like before I try Hunting Horn now, I never played Hunting Horn in Monster Hunter World, which is such a shame, honestly. I've been missing out. Oh my god. I don't know if I want to deal with Radoban here, even though I already dealt some damage to Radoban. Maybe not, I'm lazy. That works. Might be able to catch the... yeah. I don't know why, but to me personally, I feel like Rotten Vale is like one of my least favorite places in the world. I don't know why though. Oh wait. Where's the dog? Hi, Reed. Oh my god, meat friend. Heckin' yip. Welcome. Hmm. Hope meat is doing heckin' good. Yellow. How's me? Today I'm feeling okay-ish. A little bit tired, but it's normal. It's like end of day stuff. And I'm just like trying to like hunt in Monster Hunter World to wind down a little bit. It feels nice. And doing a bit better today than yesterday, so that's something. Oh. No, hopefully being here helps at least a tiny bit. Hopefully. I wanted to stream yesterday, but I didn't. Yesterday was like a full day, well, a full afternoon of like job hunting. Well, almost a full day actually. I haven't tried to job hunt in the morning, but
無事ですか？キャンプで待ってます。
it's a little bit hard. I mean, to be fair, no one would want a part-time worker who works 2 days a week. Like, come on. Right? I'm gonna be so for real right now, right? That's why I keep mentioning like my previous employer. I'm so lucky.
おばさまはどこに？私探しに行ってきます。あんたたち。おばさま。おばさま。
Obasama! Oh my
よ
god.
しよし、怪我がなくてよかったわ。ありがとう。隠れてやり過ごそうかと思っていたけど、おかげで助かったわ。ほら、メスを描くのはおよし。約束通り、谷のいろんな顔を見てきてくれたんだろ？
Seeing a cute face
そう
ourselves.
じゃない。
Oh my god.
どんな場所だと感じた？
I want to skip the cutscene so bad, chat.
おそらくモンスターたちの
But
墓場。
the sound is gonna get so funky.
墓場を中心とする巨大な生態系の姿です。
Chat, I'm doing it. I don't want to look at the cutscene. Nice, we're getting plates left and right. Won't you take me to Funky Town? I cannot. Funky Town. Is it Funky Town? I love that music though. It's really fun. It is Funky Town? Heck yeah. I'm so glad I got that one.
古代龍神さんの話を聞けばマグダラオスの場所がわかるでしょうか。
Funky sound, yeah. Funky sound. Breaking. Oh my god. I should drink water. Oh no. What happened to Brecky? Oh no. The explosion. Oh my god. Hey, thanks for the tree stream streak. Ooh. I'm not reading all that. TLDR. Oh. Okay. Oh my god, I'm gonna become so strong. Oh, we can make Bloom and Horn. Monster Bone Plus? Monster Bone Plus might be high rank stuff. And Spiked Horn. Oh my god, Dragon Bone? Can I make that? Can I make a Dragon Hunting Horn? No, not Gunlands. Oh, I can! Or it's just all bone. Paralysis negate, tremor, water resistance, dragon resistance, elemental attack boost, and static wave. Speed boost, event window, elemental effectiveness up. So there is 0 healing capability for this one. I'm making it anyway because it's dragon. It looks nothing like a dragon, but it's dragon. Heck yeah. And 2 lumps of meat? Oh my god. I hate how the quest is all like carrying quest. It's shower time? I should probably eat first. And give me all the meat. Best cooking in any game. Wild is just being lazy with the food preparing. Like, have you seen this? Oh my god. World food cooking is... There's no other. Yeah, it's just Uber Grab food. It's just Food Panda. They're being so lazy. Although the campfire cooking, that one's not bad at least. The campfire cooking, yeah. And then you like our character eats one bite and then does like a side smile. And then eats all of them. I cannot get over the side smile. Look at that meld. Oh. Try like fireworks. There's not much I need to do now. Let's go. Expedition takes a lot more time to load. Oh, there are Grimalkine traces nearby? Oh, I did 2 tremor negated. Wait, how did I do tremor negated? I did this. Wait, let me try again. Paralysis negated. Top tier music right here. And then auto resistance. Oh my god. Two... That... This one sucks. Oh, I did twice. How did I did twice? Elemental attack boost. No one's gonna fail the... No one's gonna fail the thing anymore. The Alatrion elemental DPS check. Elemental defense boost L. Oh my god. L. I smell Grimalkine. There's no way to go up, I think. We have Enginev, Great Jagras, and Rattles. My current level, I should be able to beat Rattles. Oh. Ads starting soon. You know, sometimes I wish I can just disable ads completely. Since I'm currently getting 0 from ad revenue, it's kinda crazy. I did reach out to Twitch support, even they have no idea like what's going on. I don't think we're getting Dragonite from this map. Right, we're gonna fight the T-Rex. Oh. Oh my god. That hurt though. I'm still not used to this. Dragon 2, water resistance. the double bite. Wasn't it a counter? I'm very not used to this hunting horn. I need this. Oh? Question mark footprint? Where's the question mark footprint? Oh. That's the first Vivarian, I think. Never going to world, the reason for it is silly. Hmm? And why is it silly though? To me personally, it's like I really love World. You know what? World is my favorite Monster Hunter, I would say. Yeah, I definitely forgot. It's been like 11. It's been 11 years. Nah, not 11 years, but it's been a long time. I just want to fight Angela for a bit. I'm on a T-Rex. Feels like this should be time. Yeah. Boop. 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 The spin, it's so good. And the stun. Anyway. Something happened. Oh my god, I wasted it. I wasted it twice. Ow. I actually rolled that on reaction. That was crazy. My brother had a PS4 and it was a PS exclusive first, so he get to play it and rub it into my face for the whole 8 months until we finally got the PC. Oh no, that's not silly. To me, that's... I don't like when someone get to rub that kind of situation to my face. I don't know how to put it lightly, but I don't like it. Not a big fan. To me, that's not really like a silly reason. Provocative situation. Depends on what you want. Depends on what situation you were thinking. Oi, that was a dragon. Love that. I never had a good relationship with my siblings, so yeah, that's fair enough. Oh. Oh, I broke the nose. This is the first time I heard that squeaky noise. Are you doing? Oh, that's bad. That was a bad roll. We survived this though. Okay, that's cool as fuck actually. I like dragon element. It's the best element. Because it has dragons on it. Where's my situation? Back when this came out, I still play on PS4, so on the PS4 first. Then got the PC and I bought it. It came out, but only for PS4 first, so I bought iSmall PS4 first to play it. Bought it on PC when it came out here, so I have 2 copies of this game as DLC, one of PS4 and one for PC. It's always right to have 2 copies of MHWorld on 2 different platforms. It's fine. Ooh. We take those. What are sonic waves? Having a hilarious bark of a devil Joe hopping on all the Garen in his mouth and that caused him to get stuck and he just ran in place till I hit him enough to get knocked back. I kinda like that. Did you ever show that clip? I have it recorded. No, I have not seen it yet. just a doggo that runs in place. I feel like I'm speaking a little bit weird too because I feel like I'm getting sick, question mark? No, it's not like I'm already sick. It's like that feeling before I get sick. Like at the back of your nose you feel something swollen. Yeah, I'm currently having that feeling and not a big fan. Wake up. Don't be lazy. Hi, Dragon Colony. No, don't be tired now. Come here. Come on. Why are you tired now? Yeah, there we go. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now Dragon Colony is doing good. And with Arnold on YouTube, Discord is poop. Oh. Fair enough, Discord is poop. Let's try to find the Grimalkines. Oh.
I don't care what you're doing right now, Kobo, but you better eat for me for the next 2 minutes.
Who are we chasing? I lost them already. No, I lost them already. I don't remember doing this. No, this one's dead end. Run towards Camp 17. I think I have Camp 17. Oh. Where did it go? I guess they went further. I don't think they went further. I posted it in the Monster Hunter channel. Thank you. I'm gonna look at it after. Across the Vine. I'm so lost. The drop exit, that's a dangly vine? Oh,
Can I reach that one? Oh shit. George, 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 the song jungle. I don't know why that music just came out. Have you ever made contact with the forest cats? I don't think so. Okay, fine, I'll hear out what business here with the bug trappers. Yeah. We're here on an investigation. We could use your help. It's gone? What's gone? We hope we could become friends. Friends, you wish to become a member of the bug trappers? And the other one wants this as well? My Meowster is the bravest fighter in the whole research commission. You are fleet of foot and know the forest path. I suppose you are qualified. Very well. We'll welcome you into the bug trappers. Thank you. Our warriors carry this gadget as a symbol of our tribe. Take it. Flashfire cage? That's how you get flashfire cage? Even... okay, Chad. My 1k hour character has no flashfire cage because I have no idea how. It's so hard to get. Holy shit. Yay, we did it. Now we go find the first Vivirion. There's a new engine up already? Holy shit. I think this one we go back to Camp 11? Or maybe possibly Camp 1. Maybe Camp 1. I should have gone back to Camp 1. They told me to talk to jackals. I didn't even know it was possible. So the next time I run into some, I'll try to convince them to join the Tail Raiders. What? That's so cool. Nice Tail Raider friend before taught me the trick to do Meowster calls. When you call Meowster, they'll let you hop on their back and hitch a ride. Raider ride? Oh, I know. Huh. I recommend most other games just to spend infinite time in an area. Yeah, I really like that too. Expedition is such a nice little change, honestly. Although, yeah, the monsters will just leave. But that's like when I'm hunting monsters, it could get a little bit inconvenience, but it's tiny. Go to Raft Nest. I go to Raft Nest. I think I remember how to go to Raft Nest. You and your jump scares, I swear. Oh, is this my first fight against Retalos? Whoa, cutscene. I'm not skipping this one. This one is pretty short, I think. Like the monster ones are pretty short. But ended more than the quest to kill monsters, nothing else. There was like one short quest for some endemic life and fishing. That's about it. But well, especially in Iceborne with the house customization, you've recently explored and find rare endemic life. Yeah, exactly. Too bad there's no Rathalos music in the world. Don't know why it's gone. Come on, like this could play when we fight against Rathalos in the world. Like, come on. It's so cool. Ayo, Huggy. I remember in Monster Hunter 3U, you could just go out of the city and hunt as many monsters you want because they kept respawning. You get points based on how hard the monsters were, and only monsters you defeated before could show up. You could trade those points for reward that were mega busted. Oh, I never played 3U. Holy shit, that sounds fun. My net blipped? Oh no. Is it fine? I mean, I guess it's fine now. Yes. Find the dragon with a mountain of fire upon its back. I possess that knowledge. Not yet worthy? It's good again? Heck yeah. Only one who stands at the top of the food chain. Conquer the fire wyvern and horned wyvern that descend upon the first and the waste. Tsunano Ryu.
その2頭を狩猟しろということでしょうか。おそらくディオレウスとディアブロスですね。一度準備をしに拠点に帰りますか。
Diabolos. Minus 116? We're fighting that Rathalos here. Whee! Raider, right? Can I do that now? Oh, hi! Go! The controls? Set a destination. Oh yeah, it's going... Are you playing Ring of the Rosie? Aren't you going... You know, I have a feeling this might be a Ring around the Rosie. Oh no. Yeah, turn back, turn back. Oh no. Oh, you're waiting it here. Oh my god. Good chakras, I love you. Alright, let's go fight that thing. Thank you, chakras. I love you. Mwah. I didn't roll. Aduh, nak might hurt. Yeah, Tricky will leave the area soon. Really? I couldn't land the hit. Oh. Oh, that was 2 good hits and I might die here. Whoa. Whoa. Everything's fine. Whoa, no second tail swipe? That's weird. Oh, sonic waves. That's the sound of sonic beam. Okay, okay. I don't know, am I? Okay, wait, no. Chill, 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 chill. Wow, Redlands is hard. The Jaguars can look into the future. Jaguars has future sight. Oh no. Okay, fine. Wait, where did my health go? Where did my health go? Get nibbled? Hi Sarah. Kobo pre, oh my god. Welcome. I hope you're doing good. Wait, I can call on the checkers. Hi. There's items we can use while riding, like eating. While you're on the meow, we're on the mew. That's pretty cool. I didn't know I can ride. I didn't know I can ride monsters in World. I've been running around in World for 1.3k hours. I don't remember. It can do it in every locale? No, no, you're lying. You're so you make contact with the cat tribe? Well, wait, I contacted the other cat tribe. I have the other equipment. Am I stupid? Don't do it. Ah, yeah, you did it. Why are you like this? Oh, I'm dead. GG. I'm destroying my controller. It's not fast enough. God damn it. PK fire. PK fire. Wait, I have 4 taffy. I win the game. I forgot I have 4 taffy. You did? No. I don't even need my mega potion anymore. I am cheating. I have 4 taffy. Hi Ninetales. How's the symphony? Pretty good. Going pretty well. Definitely did not die just now. No eat for bonus HP? There's no chef recorded. There's no chef recorded thing. See left there. No. No, Riddles is still here. The game is lying to me. What the heck? Tactical for taffy is fine. Oh, Jackra's track. Right. They're still lying to me. Alright. Run it back. Run it back. Don't jump. Ah. Oh, wait, that's a topple. Oh, wait, that's the wrong button. I'm so confused. This horn is so hard to use. Oh, the herbivores I know at least. It's just that I cannot control them. It's just like a little... It's just like a little fun ride. Why the fuck is Rattle so hard to fight against? Don't do it. You... I'm not dead. I'm dead now? Because you're wearing Jagger's armor? Nonsense. Jagger's armor is strong, like come on. Okay, look at this for Taffy number 2. I think I upgraded my Jagger's armor. Not fully, but some. That's some upgrade, no? How do I make Max Potion? Max Potion. I just need 1. And then I need... Okay, there we go. Alright, run it back. Rathalos is easy. That meat eating takes 10 years. I don't know why. Ratha is so hot. I can agree to that. I love Ratha. Because Ratha is a dragon. But Kobo still thinks Nonzino number 1 though. Nonzino is so good, oh my god. Oh wait. Oh my god. I think my I think my Jagras armor is upgraded a bit. I don't know how to check though. Maybe we can look at it after this expedition. The Fort Taffy number 2. I'm so waiting this one. Easy. No. God damn it. Why would you leave me like that? Are you flying to... No, okay. Main safe for the explanation of the raider, right? No. Maybe there's already raider, right? I just never used them. Oh, you want me to jump down? Okay. Equipment info in pause. I don't know how long the photography is gonna last on the expedition. "50 minutes excavation? That's a long time, holy shit. I should have just died twice in the expedition and go bonkers because that shit lasts for a... You... Guidelines rules applying? Oh. Alright, you little shit. Why are you EP for? Alright. Might as well, you know. And this? And then last is this. Alright. I whiffed. There, it's simple, easy. We take those. Don't... No! Alright, it's fine. You're gonna run again? You're gonna... Ooh. Can you get down here? Maybe? Don't do it! Oh, oh. I'm stuck in your claws. I'm not gonna complain, but still, I'm gonna complain. I'm just gonna hit whatever. Fine. Not gonna say tumbling down if you have the dam. Hey, I don't need that. I'm a hunter, pure of heart. I never use tricks. I never use tricks. I just have a walking stick and I do the thing. Oh, I got so lucky actually. Oh, that looks like a wing break. Oh my god. Oh, thank goodness you don't have gas. They should have been a forward one. Don't do it. No. Ow. This is fine. I hit them for quite a bit. Are they leaving soon now? This might be horrendous. I feel like they might be leaving soon. Are you? Oh. You don't see me. You don't know where I am. You're gonna go to sleep soon. Hell yeah. Well, if it works, it works.
残るは角の竜ですね。クエストを準備して待っています。
Yay, E.T. Alright, let's return from quest expedition. Ooh. What an expedition that took 69 years. Right, let's go check my Jagara-sama.
次は角の竜ですね。
Tsunono Ryu. Uh-oh. I should use all my armor sphere to upgrade my armor. I remember using all of my armor sphere to upgrade though. Level 6, level 6, level 9, level 9, level 1. It's not bad. It's not entirely like necky. It's pretty strong. Look at this, defense 24 and then defense 18. That's like crazy high. That's like really strong. How much is 22? Okay, I take that back. Okay. Maybe 18 and 24 is not that strong when the base armor of rare tree armor is already like Bean. Oh, it's Ban. Oh my god, I see as Bean. But what should I make? I didn't really like farm this stuff. Auto Garen tail? GG. I cannot get the tail. Ooh, Rathalos armor. Rathalos armor? I hunted Rathalos before. Holy, I don't remember. Apparently I did. With this armor. I mean, I already did. Wait, I just hunted the rat. I don't know. Okay. You know what? My brain doesn't work, and that's very obvious. Yep. Right. Help, chat, help! My brain, it's not here. Okay, let's make a mixed armor set, right? So which helmet is cool? This helmet is cool. Which armor is cool? Um. Nah. Play doctor with this? Alright. Oh, this one is cool, but I don't have Gyros Fang. No. Well, we have blue Vambrace. Yo. Oh. This one looks like it's a... Oh. And Brian, hey. Kobo is sexy time. Yeah. Late night Kobo. Yeah. I wanted to hunt. Health boost first thing, not beelining for the health boost. Do we need health boost? Kobo always at 60 time. How Brian doing? God, oh my god. Auto Garen coil. Crit eye. They look so basic though. Like, look at this one. Bam. Bam. And also this one. Bam. I like this one more. Yeah, I'll make this one. Won't be talking much because deboning chicken in a second. It's all good. No worries. A good luck deboning chicken. Alright, this is my mixed set. Mixed set is like meta, right? So, how do I... Okay, wish list? Just so that I don't forget. Okay. Kobo is gonna become so heckin' strong, it's gonna go crazy. Oh, why did I say no? Look at it. My first mixed set. Never blipped again? Oh no. I hope it's just like a tiny blips. It doesn't last that long. Well, I don't even need to bring any cool... I don't need to bring any like strong stuff. This armor set is gonna bring me to victory against a Diabolos. Defense up S. Alright, let's eat this one. Kiwi. Tekon Maestro? I don't have. I don't think I have. No. No. my character looks so cool. I realize me playing Monster Hunter is also the time where I piss off, like, well, not piss off, but mildly annoy Dragon. Mildly annoy Narix with my stupid ass builds. A build with the biggest quotation mark. This one seems closer. We ate, right? Right, time to go. What time's now actually? 12? I can play for a little bit longer. I'm gonna take that sonic boom, but I'm not gonna use it. I'm gonna change my horn. I don't want to use this horn. It's dragon, but it feels so weird. I'm using back this one. I should go get... Huh? You have not gotten dinner yet? Well, even though it's past midnight, I think dinner is always good to have. Listen. More. I whiffed? Oh no, I didn't whiff, okay. Oh, there's Radiant. Of course there's Radiant. I'm in Radiant's place. I think Diablos is always here. Yeah. Oh, it blipped again? Guess my connection is really terrible. I don't know why. I don't know why when Barnos is screaming like this. Are they Barnos? I don't know. But when the birds are screaming like this, the first thing that came to my mind. The first thing that came to my mind. It's Everyday Bro. With the Disney Channel flow. I don't know why that's the first music that came into my mind. It's insane. It's Everyday Bro. Fuck. I don't know why that music came to my mind. It's so cursed. Oh, there goes that Barif. The monster introduction in this game is so cool though. Look at this. God damn. What an introduction. Look at the size of that thing. The classic scream no one likes. I need this, I need this, I need this. Don't mind me. I'm gonna get... This is fine. Yeah, why are you not doing the flying jump? I'm pretty sure earplugs is not gonna work here. That at least requires like a earplug LXXL. Ow! It really hurts though. Oh dude. I haven't asked nicely though. Oh, I got numbers, holy shit. Also, something completely unrelated, but lately these days I've been sleeping kind of early. Like I've been sleeping at 10 or even like 11 at the night because I've been eating that medicine that makes me drowsy at night. So I ate that. You sleep early normally? I usually sleep at around 12 or 1, but nowadays it's like 10 or 11. That's like really, really early. Oh. I kind of want that horn. Is that 2 horns? There might be 2 horns. easy for hunting. Yep, it is. Oh, hornless behavior? Where's your horn, huh? I'm dead. Ooh, that's hard to time. Uh-oh, I'm dead. Not like this. Oh, Mom gave me a second chance. Run. Alright, you're dead now. You didn't kill me. Oh fuck. And I'm actually kinda surprised how fast I can just destroy their horn. Destroy its horns. Like 2 horns. Like those horn breaks were like the first break. The first and second break were the horns. That's how strong hunting horn is. Very based blood weapon. That hurt. Actually kinda surprised that still hits. There we go. Give me that head. Oh, I should have broke the back. No. Okay, we go hit the back now. Oh my god, it hurts like crazy. Okay, nice. Oh, the tail. With the extended health recovery, that's gonna help like a ton. Apparently, extended health recovery buff is just like super recovery from Fahazak Sama. Oh, I'm dead. No! Oh, oh god, ow. I cannot believe it. That stun was painful. Wait, without Jaguar's armor, I don't have my Fortify anymore. Or as I like to call it, Fortefi for some reason. There's no more Fortefi buff. I'm gonna die again. I need my Fortefi. Oh, that was different. Oh my god, it hurts like crazy. This is fine. Oh, we can capture already, easy. And if I can get some free Vespoid here. It's not AP. Okay, it's going to EP now, I think. I might be able to get like a few more Vespoid. Why? I don't know. I'm actually feeling very eepy. I mean, to be fair, today has been pretty tiring. Maybe this is my last hunt. Maybe. Maybe. I mean, there's also, because of no like income from the part-time job that I got from before, I might need to focus a little bit on art since I haven't been doing art a long time as well. I need to think about that. Diablos is not that hard. Or maybe she's hunting on this skunk. Ascended to the apex and proved yourself. Secret of the dragon that carries a mountain of fire on its back. The dragon hovers on the brink of death, but the light of life is calling to it, drawing away from proper grave. Wandered into the ever stream and lost its way. It's then poised to perish there, brimming with fiery life-bringing energy. Every corner is land like the vein of a beating heart. Succumb to death there? Its glove of energy will hurtle through those veins. Dragon's secret.
Mina, 静かに。では、状況を整頓しよう。彼らの尽力で、
Where's my
古
dragon
代
to?
竜神からいくつか情報を得ることができた。一つ、ゾランマグダラウスは地脈回廊に向かっている。二つ、マグダラウスは死を迎えた瞬間、溜め込んだ生命エネルギーを放出する。三つ、地脈は新大陸全土につながっておる。万が一、彼が地脈内で命を終えれば、放出したエネルギーによって新大陸が火の海となることが予想される。
総司令、ここは避難を優先しましょう。妹にも気球で避難するよう伝えます。
それじゃ間に合わないよ。討伐しかないんじゃないの？しかし討伐した瞬間に火の海であることに変わりはねえぞ。
渡りの古竜を討伐するということは、新大陸の生態系を僕らの手で断ち切るということや。
I never really read the story in this game.
僕らがここに来た理由は他にあるはずなんや。
いいですか？でしたら回廊以外の場所に彼を導くというのはどうでしょう？
ゾラマグダラウスを導く。
調べたのですが、地脈回廊は海と近接した場所にありますよね。回廊にやってきた彼をどうにかして海側に誘導できれば。
なるほど。海の中であればエネルギー放出の衝撃を和らげることができる。その後は彼の命を苗床に海の中に新たな生態系が築かれるだろう。
問題が 以前報告した通り、大規模作戦に必要な物資が枯渇しています。それに、あの巨大な古竜の進路を変えるだなんて、一体どんな兵器を使ったら？
大丈夫だ。心配に及ばない。なぜならば。
あれは。
ひよった。
Oh, it's the Dragonator.
待っていたぞ、船長。よくやってくれた。
間に合ったな。物資を山ほど持ってきたぜ。バリスタ大砲の弾、何でもござるだ。
Alright, chat, I'm gonna be very honest here. In World, everything is great. Zora Magdaros fight is like so shit. It's so shit. I hate it with a passion. It's so boring. It's so terrible. It's a snooze fest. Like, everything about the monster, the concept is like we're fighting against a volcano dragon. Wow, right? We're fighting against it. I can go up close and personal with a fucking volcano dragon. But no, the game is like you can only use your balliste and your cannon to beat the shit out of it. It's like, what? Can I just go like tickle its feet until it dies or something? I mean, Zora Maktaros is not even like the biggest monster around. Like, we have fucking Dalamador. Like, the size of Dalamador is like, what, 3 Zora? I don't know. I don't know if it's 3 or 2 Zora. I don't know, right? But gosh, can I Gekryuso? Where's my Dragonator?
これがあれば、マグダラオスの誘導に強い希望を持つことができる。よし。ハンターたちは急ぎ地脈回廊に向かえ。具体的な説明は現地で行う。よろしく頼んだぞ。それでは我々に導きの青い星が輝かんことを。
マグダラオスを見送りに行きましょう。私たち全員で。
Oh, cool.
よく聞け。導きの青い星が輝かんこと。
Well, I guess we're fighting against Zora. You know what? Let's do a Zora fight before I go EP, right? They could promote my EP, you know what I mean? They could promote, like, I could sleep way better if I fight against Zora here. After the Zora fight, I can snooze very nicely, you know? Because of how boring it is. God damn it. Wee. Alright, let's eat. Oh, even this one is 20? It's not that bad. Let's have attack up M. No, actually it's useless. We don't need attack up M. We're not attacking Zora anyway. Oh my god. Alright, here we go. I mean, they hype out Zora so well, and then they flop the fight so hard. I'm so upset. Equip is something cool as fuck. But no. Your job in Zora fight is to load cannons and load more cannons and load ballistae and flip the switch to Dragonetto.
それでは作戦を説明する。地脈はこれより先地中深くへと続いている。
Hopefully I get more than 4 hours of Eep today. Oh, I hope so too. More Eep is always good.
もう手出しができない。その前にこいつで食い止めよう。
Whoa, Dragonator. I can take it. No, I can't.
外界に逃がす。そのためにマグダラオスの勢いを止めなくてはならない。奴の体力を減らし、歩みを緩めてくれ。そして今一つ。 おそらく今回もネルギガンテがやってくるだろう。奴が場を乱した場合、撃退は任せた。作戦の成否はお前たちにかかっている。頼りにしているぞ。偵察を頼む。奴が現れたら合図。来たぞ。行くぞ。あるものは全て使え。周囲を通査に観察しろ。想像力だ。体のみならず頭を使え。ハンターたちはマグダラオスの背に到着後。
Like everything is so cool here, like.
天井の鍾乳石を落としてダメージを与
える。天井の鍾乳石には火薬が仕込んである。スリンガーで撃って爆破してくれ。
相棒、頑張ってください。ご注意を。
What am I doing? Do I jump down here? Oh, I jumped down somewhere automatically.
外角に到着しました。
排熱機関を破壊して体力を減らしてください。
ここでどれだけ奴の体力を奪えるか。それが
Alright, it's time to get Dragon Knight. do I even have Slinger Shot? I never used this. I never used the rock on top to like S trap. Oh wait, we do. Let's see. It's probably not soon that I can shoot it. It does seem pretty close though. And is that one? Are you sure that I can aim at it? Oh my god, it's impossible. Okay, never mind. Oh, I'm not supposed to go there? Oh, oh my god, you heard. riveting gameplay. Whoa. Oh, double. Oh, whoa, triple? I'm dead? Oh, I shouldn't have wake up. I shouldn't have won. What was that combo? Did I just die to Zora? What the hell? Holy shit, that was crazy. Oh my god, Sim, hi. Hi, Draken. Nah, it's fine. I hope Fluffy Dragon is doing it. Alright, here we go. I never seen this place. I died to Zora. This is crazy. I never had that before. Oh, I can stand on all fours after this? Oh, you're gonna stand up. Oh no. You mean use this? Like that? Alright, let's go to the front. Can I go through this? No.
問題ない。ハンターたちはネルギガンテの撃退を続行だ。
ゾラマグダラオスが体勢を変化。立ち上がろうとしています。
揺れに備えろ。振り落とされるな。
マグダラオスが二足状態に体勢変更。
ハンターたちはネルギガンテの撃退を続行。任せたぞ。行け。
How do I even go to Nergigante? I think it should be around here. Yeah. Alright, here we go. I'm gonna die. Oh no. Oh no. That's death. Oh my god, really? I never really had this much trouble going against Zora. Wow. I didn't do anything. Dirk is EP, just woke up, but we okay. Hope you're well. Heck yeah, hope you have a nice evening. Huh, that doesn't look normal, I think. Can I use this? I think I did something. I've never been this confused. Oh yeah, I can hit. Whoa. What's going on? I hate this fight. Oh my god, I hate this fight so hard. It's so stupid. What the heck, man? Oh yeah, did I say that I'm doing okay? I hope so. I don't want to risk it. Alright, I forgot how to get to the third one. Nice snipe. Oh no, I didn't even get too sharpened. Well, what is that snipe? I think it's to climb up here. Oh, I didn't break the third one. Alright, here comes more riveting gameplay. I think that's gonna hit. Yeah. Why is this a fight? I don't think that's a good idea. I want to get up close and personal with a dragon, man, not like this. Oh, I don't hit 3? That's a waste. Gimmick fights are almost always annoying. They are. Very annoying. Like, they have Lao San Long, they have Dalamador before. I never fought against Dalamador, to be honest, but I just love Dalamador. I assume Dalamador fights, it's like a normal hunting fight, you know, right? Like, you dodge the moves, you like... Nothing will ever be worse than a siege fight in Masanta Rise. Is siege fight, you mean like the tower defense mode? A Kobo slaying dragons. Hi Baron. No, I would smoosh them if only that I can, right? I might be sacrilegious, but I like the defense mode. You hated them so much? Oh no. At first I hated them, but after a while I find them kind of fun. I'm just gonna shoot this one. Oi, ma gu liu. Ow. that Barnos hated me with passion. Oh my god. May also just be me, but I never wanted to do one of them ever again. That's fair. I'm a big fan of tower defense games in general, so maybe that's why that one grew on me towards the end. At first I hated it. Alright, where's the ship? Where's the ship, chat? Is the ship here? Oh wait, no, the ship's... Where's the ship? Oh, okay, okay. Did I go to the wrong ship? Oh my god, I'm getting overwhelmed. Oh, there we go. What is this fight, man? Like, why can't you fire your own cannons, you stupid? Just push them in. Why you like, come here, shoot the cannons. I have no hands. You need to shoot the cannons. Like, what the hell? I'm so angry. This fight is shit. Alright, going back up. I didn't mind them, but I forgot they existed till I had better gear than I was expected to have. Ooh. Yay. Alright, shoot that cannon. Boom. Wow, I feel so accomplished. Finally! Where's my Dragonator? Yeah, Dragonator! Oh, boom! Right at the gooch! We say goodbye to the shittiest fight of all time. Let's go! I didn't even get to swing my weapon at the dragon. It's all just swinging at the pimple. That's it. Wow, I feel so accomplished. Chat, I'm not lying when I say my first time looking at this cutscene, I don't feel accomplished at all. Like, celebrate for what? for arming cannons and flipping switch for Dragonator. Like, there's no cool dodge. There's no cool stun. There's no like cool attacks that I like made some good dodges and it's just like no, it's just so angry. This fight is shit. Like, this cutscene is not warranted. It's not. They love these siege fights in all the games. Lots of them have them. Oh my god, it's a Rajang fighter. Hello, then you could fight the monster. Yeah, like Lao San Long, you could just like ignore the sieges, and then you just like go up it. You can go up close and personal against that thing. Beat the shit out of it, you know. It's great. This one they force you. They literally force you to be like, here's your cannon, here's your body's tail with an AE. Shoot, have fun. I'm not having fun. God fucking damn it. I'm so angry. I'm so angry. I swear. You could just bap his toes. I know. Like fighting against Lao San Long. Again, Lao San Long. You do later get to go on his back, right? Or you fight the Nergi. Yeah, that's fighting against Nergi. which is funny because you get to fight Nergi later in the game as well. Never again Zora is like, yay, goodbye volcano. Hi Capitan. And give me the good stuff. And give me the material items. Thank you very much. Alright, I'm just gonna buy everything. Thank you very much. You have a lot of dung pot. Why? Why are you selling shit? Why? Alright, fine. You know what? I'm not gonna question too many things. That fight was a snooze fest. I'm gonna pet my pig now. At least the pig is cute. You're still buying it though? Yeah, I am. If they sell shit, I have to buy shit. It needs to be done. I cannot miss out on such like deal. I have to get them all. It's important. I need to get all the good deals. Oh hey, power couple? I still think about that cutscene every time and it pissed me off every time. It's like, yay, we loaded enough cannons to drive it back, and where's my Dragonator? We drill his gooch and it goes back. We did it. Let's celebrate. Wow. It's like the celebration. I guess the celebration is like because everyone is safe, right? They did mention the risk. Right, they did mention the risk, by the way, that if we don't drive the Zora back to water, the new world is just gone, right? Poof, never happened. So that's a huge risk if we fail that fight, right? But then again, we know it's Monster Hunter. We know that the story is not going to happen, right? Like new world exploding, it's not gonna happen. At least make the fight satisfying. I'm so angry. I cannot stop yapping about that stupid fight. I hate it. And if I remember correctly, there's no Zora armor, is there? I don't think there's Zora Magdaros armor. Yeah, like, or maybe it's only high rank. I don't know. Maybe it's only high rank. Has the story in this game ever made sense? No. That's the beauty of it. It's just this one, the story sucks. Well, the story doesn't suck, right? Honestly, it's just Zora made everything sucks. Like I have such a huge anger towards Zora. It's the only like bad thing in this game, like horrendous thing in this game. The only one. I mean, sure, there are some like bad things in this game. Obviously, all games has them. No game is flawless, right? But those are like minor things, right? This one, Zora, is not minor. Zora is like, I don't know what to use. I'm so dumbfounded. I don't know how to explain it. Not sure if I read or watch a single cutscene in the entire series. Oh, don't worry, you are forced to watch the cutscene in this game. Unless you have mod installed, then you're fine. I think I might stop here. Even though I'm very angry towards Zora, but I think I kind of want to get some EP. I'm gonna stream again tomorrow, or it's already tomorrow, so I'm gonna stream again today in about 13 hours time. Yeah, about. That we'll do it next time. Heck yeah. We skip the cutscene. in Rise Siege, I figured out a specific tower layout that almost always worked well. To me, the siege is like you try to do the quests at the side as fast as possible, and once you unlock the machine cannon, you're good to go. And then if you want to go up close and personal, just gong the counter gong, and then each hit does like 400 damage. It's like, yeah, it's easy. My strat was a friend who was way stronger than me carried through it. Hey, that's always valid. That way of winning in Siege is always valid. Right, let's open up this one. Night, Brecky. Chat, we're gonna do something crazy. Alright. I want to raid someone who I never raided before, and she just started apparently. I want to raid Hope. I did stop by her streams a few times, but yeah. Actually, also my eat has been abysmal the past week. Oh. Yeah, EP, get some good EP, Brecky. It was a pleasure to be here. Oh my god, thank you. It's nice to see Dragon always. Thank you. I'm not gonna plug. It's fine. I'm just gonna do a raid message and we're gonna raid out, right? This is like a side stream, secret stream. Incredibly cute Kobo, oh my god. Oh my goodness. Like, here's the raid message. And just in case you guys want to know who Hope is, she's a partnered streamer on Twitch, so I'm a little bit scared raiding her, but I also want to raid her because I never really get to raid her. She always like says good stuff about my stream, and I kind of want to repay the favor somehow. So this is Hope, who's currently streaming right now. Just started streaming, honestly. So yeah, I'm just gonna raid and I'm just gonna hide because I'm afraid of raiding a partner streamer. Right, let me just type in the raid. Okay, I type in the raid. Okay, here we go. I'm yeah, I'm gonna stream again in about 12 hours time. Yeah, about yeah. So before the raid though, Kobo wants to say thank you all so much for joining with me today. Really appreciate all of you. Love you so much. And also know that you guys are heckin' loved, valid, and matter. Very valuable. And Cobalt loves y'all, right? You can borrow my box to hide in. I'm gonna hide in that box. And here comes the raid to Hope. I'm still a little bit scared. I'm still a little bit scared. It's okay, it's okay. Alright, here comes the raid. Bum. It's fine. I'm a small raid, right? So I'm just gonna hide. It's fine. I guess I should just play it. I'm gonna press the raid now button. I did post the raid message. I'm just gonna post the raid message and run. I'm so scared. Oh my god. Oh, I'm terrified. Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna press the raid now button. So I'll see you guys in about 12 hours time. I'm gonna stream again, so heck yeah. Take care, everyone. Kobo loves you. Mwah. Bye bye. Take care.